here, which talks about inculcating the habit of building one's mind with workout. I've already creating a room for doubt already, and once you have created a room for doubt, it builds up. It continues to, like, it's a space that it will continue to get wider, and then it happens eventually. But positivity in circumstances. Now let us try and talk about that.
Positivity
in circumstances. For example, now when you find yourself in a place where, in a circumstance, okay, let me say you're trying to go to school right now, there's no money, you're thinking of how to get money. The fact that you want to go to school, first and foremost, that thought alone is already a positive thinking. And whether you like it or not, eventually it has a way, it will link you up to something that is going to get you that opportunity to go to that school. The fact that you want to, how much do you want it? There is an example here in the book where he said, he made an example, like 3 different examples. He said, here is a man who is wretchedly poor. He is extremely anxious that his surroundings at home comfort should be improved. Yet all the time he shrinks his work and considers he is justified in trying to deceive his employer on the ground of the insufficiency of his wages. Such a man does not understand the simplest rudiments of those principles which are the basis of true prosperity, and is not only totally unfitted to rise out of his wretchedness, but is actually attracting to himself a still deeper wretchedness by dwelling in and acting out indolent, deceptive and unmanly thoughts. Another example is, here is a rich man who is the victim of a painful and persistent disease as a result of gluttony. He is willing to give large sum of money to get rid of it, but he will not sacrifice his glutinous desire. He wants to gratify his taste for rich and unnatural viands and have his health as well. Such a man is totally unfit to have health because he has not yet learned the first principle of a healthy life. It's a very simple thought. When you want something, you have to be positive about it. Any room you leave for negativity brings negativity to whatever it is your thoughts about that thing is. If you want it to work, you have to think positive. Not just think positive about it, you have to act positive towards it. You have to follow up your words with action. You have to follow it up with persistency, determination, and any other thing you know is going to push that thing to work. But when doubting yourself in the first place is already creating room for bad vibes. Now, for example, I want to create more time for myself. I want to read, I want to study harder, but I always come back. Whenever I come back from school, I have a set of friends I hang out with, and then whenever I'm hanging out with them, I know my time is going, but I still want, my mind is in my book. This is my mind. Every day I tell myself this when I wake up. It's already what I wrote down. Time to study 4 to 6 p.m. But then my friends are always hanging out from 3 to 5 p.m. By 4 p.m., the fact that I have it in my mind that I want to study, but I'm still seated there with my friends doesn't mean, okay, because you are positive about this that you're still going to create time for yourself, it's going to work. No. This also happens to me whenever it's time for exam. Whenever I'm writing exam, I study well at night, and I don't know how to, like, I study persistently before the exam, but at the same time, when it's time for exam, I study with my friends, with them, but I'm not giving them my book 100 as I should. And whether I like it or not, they say, so the way you lay your bed, so you will lie on it. I did not lay it properly, so I'm going to have a little problem when it's time for me to sleep. That's why when the result comes out, I'm like, but I'm supposed to have 100 in this course. How come I had a 50? That's because, yes, I was studying for the course every day before the exams, but when it was time for me to take, they said desperate situation calls for desperate measure. Face it like firsthand. I did not do what I was supposed to do because I wanted to please this person and please this other person. I was distracted. So that says a lot about how your thoughts. If you grow up in a good environment, you tend when you see people do good, when you see people smile, when you see people always being kind to other people, as a child, you inculcate such habits little by little. And at the same time, when you grow up in a very, very questionable environment, like
in the slum,
in the ghetto. See, no offense, a lot of us might be conversant with the way Lagos is. Sincerely speaking, let me tell you something about me. I've observed about people that grew up in Lagos. I've never seen anybody that grew up in Lagos that is not naturally crazy.
No. Those people that
I think I agree to an extent.
Diverse or crazy.
Diverse, they are not crazy.
Yeah, diverse people.
No, we can say they are a little bit extreme.
Extreme.
Yes,
Let me use the
that
word
word.
extreme.
Because of the environment.
The environment. And see, wait, let me tell you my own experience. The first time I went to Lagos, okay, I came in from Ilorin to Lagos, and then I didn't know anybody in Lagos. In fact, I was going to the island, but I came to the mainland first, so I had to leave the mainland on my own to the island.
That is where those kind of people are.
Oh my God. I was trying to be cool, calm, and collected. It did not work for me. I noticed that, I almost lost my bag. Just at the park, I almost lost my bag because I was speaking English. English.
See, that's the point. That's the mistake some people have. Almost all of us. If you're in Rome, behave like humans. If you see a woman selling, let me assume.
You won't have that experience that first day.
Yeah, let me assume.
Have a lesson.
Okay, let me assume this lady is selling tomatoes. I already know that I don't need to speak English language to her. If I start thinking that I won't get the best thing I wanted, I don't need to say, Madam, how much do you sell your tomatoes? She will just kindly tell me, okay, this one has the butter. So you go to her level, you behave at that position, this is who she is. Madam, how much of this of man, you're not bad. You try to reduce your personality. That was why they wanted to collect your bag.
No, but can I correct you in this aspect? I, for instance, when I go to buy something, I will not just start speaking pidgin because I want to mingle with or think like that or act like that person that is selling it. I don't do that because I expect that person to say, oh, this is my price. Even she has that problem with me when I go to the market. If they say this is 1.5, I can just say, okay, bring it because I assume that you are supposed to. That mentality, Nigerians have it. It's not good at all. You shouldn't behave like the person that is selling. Because you people have not.
No, I'm not saying you should be. Listen.
It is still a strategy.
This is my point. My point
might not work for everyone.
No, my point.
It's really not something that works
all the time.
All the time.
Yes.
As you can't use that as an example of way of life. That word, act like a Roman, act like a Lagosian, that one is even better. But not like a market thing. Because for my own example now is, I will never ever start pricing because I feel they are cheating me. No. Because when you go to the supermarket, they just say this is 100 naira. You're not going to go there.
You made that example. This exact example you just made. You made that example that since you go to grocery shopping, they just put the bill and you pay.
So why are you talking to the man, the woman now who is don't understand you?
You be small.
Because you might be talking to her. You might be communicating. You might be talking, but you're not communicating. That's one thing you should also understand.
We do have that problem.
We are talking together, but you're not communicating because the person doesn't understand.
Don't speak English and they are driving keke.
No, it doesn't matter. If the person understands, okay,
but you still have to communicate.
The way the person talks to you, understand, okay, this is where I want to put this level.
No, what I was trying to say, I wasn't saying that what you said coming down to somebody's level. I'm just saying that it doesn't really apply
to everybody. Nothing applies to everybody.
It doesn't even apply to that example that you made. That market coming down, it does not apply. That way of life, that is not.
No, it's not a way of.
Because you can just go and say, I want to buy banana. I already know how much banana is. Whether I speak English, Mother, I want to buy banana, or please, can I have your banana, or how much is your banana? Won't make a difference because I already know what price it is.
But it might make a difference.
It might make a difference.
Lagos like
it makes a difference.
It
Lagos.
As soon as you bring accents,
some years in Lagos.
I don't think it's just Lagos.
Maybe
it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Even out of Nigeria. Not just Nigeria, out of
Just
Nigeria.
drop the accent like this. People just
Up in the market.
market also. You
I
understand?
still go to market and I speak the way I buy
That's why they charge you extra.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily though.
I go
But then,
I go
we know
to Africa.
Lagos in quotes
Yes.
has this crazy phenomenon of
Wait, like you drop
that crazy
you drop this English
urban town, they like that. Every urban
Lagos Island.
right.
Every
As you
urban
just
town.
speak, they'll just
They preach themselves.
Don't just preach themselves
They
over.
preach themselves.
Onamaka.
They already preach themselves.
Onamaka.
That this is a